introduce this year's Teacher of the Year, Jonathan Winn, from the School of Community Health and Medical Practices, better known as CHAMPS, at the Crawford Educational Complex. Jonathan Winn has been teaching for only 6 years, and only 4 of those have been at Crawford CHAMPS teaching algebra, pre-calculus, and calculus. In such a short time, he has developed a high-energy classroom atmosphere that inspires high school students to get excited about math.
Tomorrow is the AP Calculus exam. Good afternoon, friends, family, community members, Superintendent Kova, school board trustees, colleagues, and students. Woo! I accept this honor and the responsibility that comes with being the San Diego Unified School District High School Teacher of the Year. Thank you to so many people who are here with me today to celebrate. Can I hear you all make some noise? I represent the Crawford students. Are you out there? The Crawford student body comes from 45 countries and speaks 72 distinct dialects. The linguistic, religious, and cultural richness of Crawford is unparalleled. Crawford students spend their day learning both the essential high school curriculum and learning how to communicate and cooperate in a global community.
My name is Jonathan Winn, and I'm a math teacher at one of the small schools at the Crawford Educational Complex. I teach math at the School of Community Health and Medical Practices. We have obviously a focus on health and medicine. And I want to talk a little bit about just kind of the situation that's developed here with small schools on our campus. School was a comprehensive high school. It was started back in the 50s. And you know, the demographics of the community have changed a lot over those 50 years. Right now, and it's been this way for the last couple of decades, there's been a really high percentage of immigrants, oftentimes refugees in the community, very, very, very diverse community. San Diego Magazine, about a decade ago, characterized this school as possibly the most diverse school in the whole country in terms of language, in terms of ethnicity, in terms of religion. Very, very diverse school. And for the last couple decades, Crawford had really been a failing comprehensive school. And you know, the different groups of students were leaving the community and choosing to go to schools in other communities, and teachers were choosing to leave this school, and Crawford really became kind of this place that had really high turnover every year for teachers, and a lot of like high-performing, highly motivated students in the community were choosing not to come to Crawford. There's a lot of gang problems here. There were fights. In some cases, there were large-scale campus-wide riots of sometimes more than 100 students lobbies for a teacher. I wasn't here at the time when it was a comprehensive school, but I've talked to at least 3 of my colleagues who were, and they've described, you know, locking themselves and their students in their rooms while riots were taking place on the campus. And this is just, you know, as recent as a decade ago. And so, because of the No Child Left Behind Act, Crawford was characterized or classified as a failing school, and we were required to restructure in some way. This was 7 years ago. The teachers were given the opportunity to decide how to restructure the school. There were lots of different options. You could be a charter school. You could sort of turn yourself over to a private company and be run sort of like a business. And then there was this other idea about small schools, and this was an idea that was funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And the Gates Foundation was basically saying that we will provide a whole bunch of money, millions of dollars, if you are interested in being trained and then implementing the theories and philosophies and the research of Dr. Linda Darling-Hammond, all the research she's done at Stanford University around small schools. And so in that year when the teachers were thinking about it, they decided that that was the direction they wanted to go. And so actually the whole year before, the teachers were flying up to Stanford and doing, you know, week-long trainings with Dr. Darling-Hammond. She has, by the way, gone on to become an education advisor during President Obama's campaign. Research dates back 30 years. There's been hundreds and hundreds of studies on various small schools throughout the country. And the research says the same thing over and over and over, is that small schools are far superior to comprehensive schools, specifically in inner city at-risk communities like the one where Crawford is. And so this is one of the reasons, probably the primary reason, why the teachers at Crawford decided to adopt the small schools philosophy, was that the research said that the small schools features and the small schools theory would make a tremendous impact on student achievement. That when you authentically implement small schools, the first thing that should happen is that you'll see an increase in safety, you'll see an increase in graduation, a decrease in the number of dropouts. This is due mostly to the personalization and the continuous relationships that come along with being a small school. When you're a small school, the students all kind of go to the same classes together. They have the same teachers. It's a smaller group of teachers. Basically, the students end up knowing the teachers really well. The teachers end up knowing the students really well. And you form deeper, more meaningful relationships. And the research seems to indicate that it's these relationships, these strong relationships that students have to one another, these stronger relationships that students have with their teachers and vice versa, and even teachers with one another. It's these relationships that really improve achievement, safety, graduation, and dropout rates on a campus. Now, the research says specifically also that in terms of test score improvement, that doesn't happen for about 5 to 7 years. It says that safety, graduation, dropout rates, these things all increase right away within the first year, but test scores will take about 5 to 7 years. So we became small schools, and everything the research said would happen is what happened. Immediately within the first year, the violence on this campus reduced dramatically. Dropout rates right away were slashed. Graduation rates increased by nearly 10%. Right away, everything that the research said would happen is exactly what happened on this campus. And then after about 5 years, in fact, actually after the 6th year, we began to see the increase in test scores that the data predicted. And by the end of the 7th year, which was the end of last school year, Crawford's small schools had test scores that were a whole 100 points on the API scale, higher than what they had been as a comprehensive school. We have this situation where we adopted this model that said it would help the community. It has. It's helped in terms of all the things I've mentioned, the safety, the graduation, the test scores. We have extremely high college acceptance rates. Last year, one of the small schools on our campus, senior class, 61% of the students got acceptance letters to a 4-year university. We don't have data from the other schools in the district in terms of college acceptance because that's not something that people keep. But I've talked to friends that I have in other high schools around the district. I haven't actually met a teacher at another school who claims to have higher college acceptance rates than we have here. And so it's made a tremendous impact. And now we're being told by our district that the small schools model is going to be taken away from the students. It's going to be taken away from this community, and that we're going to be going back to a comprehensive model. And when we ask what the reason is, we're told that the reason is primarily financial. This is really, really confusing to us as teachers and just as concerned members of this community, because the superintendent told the realignment committee. Now, the realignment committee is the group of people who are deciding how to change schools to better serve students. And his direction to the committee was very specific. His direction was, whatever changes you make, that you should not be making these changes to save money. The changes you are trying to make should improve the quality of education at a school. And so we asked the question to our area superintendent. We asked, what data, what research has the realignment committee looked at in making this recommendation and making the recommendation that we become comprehensive again? What data, what research supports the idea that a comprehensive model will help the Crawford students? It will help them more than the small schools model. And the answer we got was that no data and no research was looked at. As teachers, we're advocating for the small schools model because there's research that backs it up. As educators, we believe in making decisions based on evidence, making decisions based on data, making decisions based on research. There is no research that supports a comprehensive model. There's no research that says a comprehensive model is going to be better. There's over 30 years of research that supports the small. Teachers are speaking out to the Board of Education, but it's really parents who the Board of Education listens to. And so I ask the parents of the Crawford community to help to get more informed about the research, to get more informed about the great improvements that have been made here at Crawford because of small school, the small schools model. Get involved, send emails, make phone calls, go to a Board of Education meeting with us as we're going. We have school buses that are driving students and parents down. We can get parents there. We can get the students there. Get involved. Voice your opinion. It makes a difference. We see how it's made a difference in other communities where the parents and the students are loud. Crawford needs to be, otherwise other people are going to make decisions for us. And so that's primarily what I am advocating, and I hope that you join me to advocate for quality education.